Facebook. Just waiting on the YouTubes. Okay, here we go. All right. I forgot what to do. It's been so long. So welcome back to Soul Speaks 5D. Those of you who are coming in live, nobody stepped in yet. That's strange. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's our first show since we've been back from Sedona. We did a little fun show last night. Our first show in our new studio. We've got the beautiful, beloved sister Carol Tallon is going to be with us for the next hour. But since it's been so long, I'm going to play a little bit longer intro so people can have time to come in, since we have been suppressed quite a bit on Facebook and YouTube. So we'll be back in about 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Got a little soul speak on the ascension that we all share. This unveiling, this apocalypse. You know, all this discussion of what is reality, conspiracy, heresy, truth that's stranger than fiction. Doesn't get any better than this. It's not just time to bring on the apocalypse, it's time to start riding it. It's not going to hurt us. Because one thing's for sure, in our conscious mind and even in our subconscious, if that's what you want to call it, we have always survived. And the reason for that is because we never die. So when it comes to ascension, what else is there to talk about? This ascension, unveiling, is not complicated. It's just a microcosm of the state of our being from any point, from this present moment to any point in our past. And in regard to the past, now we can look back to see, to awaken without the element of linear time. Yeah. Because the wisdom still comes. Because the universe is never late. That means we can take from our past the powerful wisdom, the eternal moments, seen when we unveil the hurts and the blame given and received. You know, we've reached a point where forgiveness will cease to exist. Because perfection did not create forgiveness, but as a path to a higher perfection, a new reflection of itself, of ourselves. Yeah, it's true. It's just not necessary forgiveness, and neither is earth love. So we can stop chasing both right now, and all the false securities and failed searches that go with the lofty goals of a moral world. Both the things that they put beyond our reach and the reasons they gave us for not being able to reach them. It's time to refold. The fold of the immortal. The fold, the I am soul. Okay, that'll do it. I needed that much time to get my stuff together. Hello, Carol. How's it going? We did talk. We violated my rules of interacting before a show. But we just talked for a second just to make sure you got on here. Welcome to the show, and thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. I know you're coming from across the pond, and I know you've been involved in the community. A couple of people tell me about you. I know you've been involved in the community for quite some time. When did you wake up?
Oh gosh, I was born partly awake, but didn't know this. Yeah. And then it came in stages, which I've only become aware of 12 years ago, because I started to understand more about my true light within myself. Like the shows I've been watching occasionally, you've got beautiful people. And I'd done Buddhism just for relaxation, 28 years ago. And it opened my light more and more, but I didn't know at the time what was happening. And that's like 28 years gone. As time's gone on, it's done it gently with me, but I've been tested time and time again as we are to come back to the compassion and love, which I chose when I was young. Short story. My grandparents couldn't have my mum because my granddad was in the war, so they had her very late. So my nan died when I was 8 and she was 88. She was my spiritual teacher, but I didn't know this at the time. She used to say to my mother, "Let her see." My mother said, "See what?" "I don't know what you're talking about." And I saw as a child some things up front. They weren't always brilliant. They were like an uncle that was not poorly, that was going to die, but I warned them. And my nan said, "Look, she knows who to tell things to. Let her use her seeing," and pointed here.
How old were you? How old were you when this was happening?
4 and 5.
4?
Yeah, and I didn't know none of this. So
You're lucky they didn't. You're lucky they didn't like put a bonfire together and put your feet to it. So you're 4 years old, telling your family these
I was
things.
seeing up front things happening. Now then, my grandfather was due to die, and I didn't know this because as a child you're shielded from anything that can upset you. I was playing a board game with him that day. And he died when I was 5, but I could tell them that he died in bed the next morning, which frightened my mother. My grandmother had cards and tea leaves, but hid them from people. Now, Mum had had me late, so she got worried about this and stopped it. She said, "Look, we live in a village community. If you start using cards at 18, you're going to be in bother. People are going to laugh." Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I get this straight. So your grandmother was your spiritual teacher, but you didn't know it.
Yeah.
You have this incredible gift that you retained as you incarnated. And I think you said, I'm not quite sure, did you say something about tea leaves?
Grandma, yeah, she used to quietly do tea leaves.
That's one thing I'd want to do sometime. I'm not into cards and all that stuff, but I'd love to see how the tea leaf thing works. But what I was going to say, so she came in and she told you, "Don't start doing this openly because you're going to cause some problems."
Mum did after she died, yeah.
Did you, like a lot of the people that come on this show, they talk about they got to a certain time and they shut it down and they went into we'll just call it the matrix. They went into the matrix and, went to school, got a job, had a family. And then at some point, like for me, it was in 2011, you reawaken. Did you have a reawakening experience?
Yeah. I used to go to the older school. I hated school, full stop. I went to the upper school from 13 and I looked many a day at the timetable. I registered and I sneaked out. Not to just go about with other children. I couldn't handle certain subjects. I just couldn't do them. Got upset thinking I'd get into trouble at home because they wanted a good scholar. It was the creativity that would have been shut down had I gone into school. I did languages and English. Science, I quite like that. I like the activity, but the art was my way forward. I became as the one in the Matrix. I did have a part-time job at 15, shampooing hair. I wanted to be a hairdresser, and that came. Then I put the cards away, but studied them for myself. With no meditation, just the art has always been a big part of my life, but I was never going to imagine what could actually happen. Basically, like you say, they shut you down in the Matrix, but I was a non-conformist. I was quite a difficult person with being sensitive because I didn't understand why others were greedy or wanted to harm people. I was brought up from poverty, So I never clung to the material. And when I studied Buddhism, it kind of made sense. I wasn't a Buddhist. But learning the non-attachment, I realised watching how people's greed was like destroying the soul. But I never said this. I kept this quiet. After having my second son, I'd been studying and meditating. And I started opening up to all this information I didn't know were downloads.
Yeah.
Very different things. You know, to use the cards, because I didn't have a part-time income, only hairdressing. So I started doing the readings. But then I got that I came away from the cards. I feel the cards more. And spirit came in, the mediumship natural. I've been in circles, and there's lovely people in some circles. Other circles, you can get an imbalance of energy. I always just come from breathing, opening the heart for any work I do. But as I work with clairvoyance, I'm kind of like it works for the client's energy and works with spirit.
Yeah,
the artwork is different. The artwork's something else.
Did you have problems with your family when this was all going on? I mean, did they think you were crazy?
Very much.
I just want to make that point, just in case.
Yes, definitely.
Up on that.
Lots of people. Yeah.
Sam Sargison wanted to know if you were from Yorkshire. She's picking up on the accent.
Yorkshire, yeah.
And she also said that she cut hair and read cards just like you.
Oh wow!
Isn't that crazy? So and now, what about the challenge? Well, let me go back to this. So you had these feelings, like these feelings of kind of anger towards people. I mean, like you wanted to, like, you didn't understand what they were doing, but
yeah,
so then you
kind of didn't get angry. I couldn't understand why people in general weren't wanting to keep people in joy. I could see doing hair that some people might only see me that week to chat to. So I used to think, why don't people want to keep joy? Now then I used to feel everything too much.
Right.
If I was around anybody who were very harmful minded, I literally felt spikes. I thought, if I don't do something with this empathy or understanding, I'm going to crack up. So I told my parents.
So this is like your typical, and I don't mean to make light of it at all. No, this is a serious thing, and it's important because a lot of people have had this experience and they've struggled with it.
Yeah.
So this is a typical experience that I've heard of an empath.
Yeah.
Who is taking on this stuff and seeing this stuff and realizes one day that not everybody thinks like them. Not everybody's built like them, right? And then this is what's interesting about the way you're telling the story. You start talking about the Buddhist type philosophy, and you start to move towards center and maybe more peace. Yeah. And I guess the reason I find it unique in the way you're talking about it is that you talked about a download a minute ago, but I wonder at the time, do you feel like you made this transformation in the way you were dealing with everything? Like you were feeling these feelings, it was making you a little upset, and you knew you had to do something, like you said, or you're going to crack up. So you kind of transformed the way that you dealt with these things. Do you think?
I realised I was kind of putting on rose-coloured spectacles, but for what I wanted in the world, I was seeing reality. But I thought, if I don't do something to stop this overload of feeling pain and suffering, I'm going to come out of any joy within myself. So I started to go down the Reiki path and took Reiki. I could naturally heal, and that was good, but that opened up the doors to colour and the angelic realm. Now then the protection actually comes. So instead of feeling an overload, I started to work at an animal charity, voluntary, a cat rescue, which I still do today. I thought, if I put this out and do a bit of something for the earth, it might stop this energetic flow, and it did. So anybody struggling with over-empathy, especially at the moment with all this and people feeling low, if they just transmute it as well by going out into nature, sounds crazy, standing next to a tree, or if they can get the feet on the ground, breathe light and just release. The earth will take the suffering, because the suffering can become immense that you actually forget to play your music or do your fun. But transformation was dramatic from that day on. I mean, I'm looking back now, like about 20 years. I've gone to different places. I don't mention that I'm awake or that I'm spiritual. I'm any different. I just look at what's offered and interact in the little communities, you know, different places I go. I love my art, and that is the only thing that can actually stop me worrying. If I have days where there's anything to worry about, or that I'm feeling a bit low, I've always picked up my brush. My saying
this is even today. You're talking about today.
Yeah, my saying is, without a paintbrush, I'd be dangerous.
So, I think it's important to point out too something else that you're saying, and it seems like it's come into it's come into more of our experience this year, and that is that I love what you said about, you know, when you're feeling all those feelings and you're feeling uncomfortable, you know, and so on, imbalanced, you don't have to go through a certain communion or connection where you get instructions, or you don't have to follow a certain protocol like breathing. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but what I love what you said is that you just go out into nature.
Yeah.
Like this year, there seems to be a lot of information coming through that we don't even know what it means. Right? Like we just get this information that comes in, and it's coming in so fast that you don't even know what happened. But somehow or another, like you were talking about, going out in nature, you just transmute the whole thing, and the human doesn't have to know everything that happened, how it happened, why it happened.
No.
We just open up and work with the universe, and it clears. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
I wanted to ask you one other thing, because I don't want to forget, because I'm really, really tired. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to ask you a question, because I think it's relevant to this year. Now, you said that, you know, you as a super empath, you know, a really sensitive empath, you're picking up on all this stuff. You're reading people, and it's not even a choice. You're just getting this information in. I know a lot of people watching live and on the replay will be able to relate to that. And then you talked about how you learned to deal with it, how you went to more of a place of balance, like doing things like going out into the nature and so on. Did you find over the years, and even this year or even the last couple of years, did you find that the more balance that you achieved and the more consistent you were with it, did you find that the people and the events that occurred in your experience got better, that kind of met your frequency, as opposed to you were still dealing with the same stuff over and over?
Yeah, no, very different. I also, at one time way back, was telling myself off, should I have done that? Could I have done that? Then I realised that's crazy. That's part of what I've got to learn, parts of myself. How I relate and how I view or speak about others is very important to make a better world, but not to judge where they're coming from. Not to say, oh, somebody's better because they understand 5D, somebody's silly, it works in 3D, that's ridiculous. And I live next to, like, the moors, and down there a river. And when I walk, I always ask the earth to bless everybody and to send healing, especially at these difficult times, but to keep a positive balance. Empathy, it sounds strange though, we need boundaries, and we have to learn to say no. You know, sometimes I've done a lot for somebody that's unappreciated. I don't get angry, but I think, you know, now that's the learning to say, no, that's not right for me. Now that stops you as well becoming trampled on, because the empath will attract people. They call it online on YouTube narcissism. I don't, that's my way. But a person who's tormented in a bad space will be drawn to light workers who have compassion, because they feel the healing vibration. I can literally be talking to somebody and feel that they're very compassionate, And then another person, I think, gosh, they're going to throw a broken bottle at somebody. Oh dear, I've always liked to laugh. That is
Yeah, of course.
feeling,
Absolutely.
a source
That's
of
a big,
fun and healing and joy.
isn't that though? I know like before I reawoke, I didn't laugh, and I love to laugh, and I always did my whole life. But, there was about 10 years, and I didn't realize it at the time when it was happening, but I didn't laugh for like 10 years. But
Yeah.
there's another thing that you brought up that I find really interesting too, because it's been in my head for the last few days. And I've had these flashbacks, a lot like what you were talking about when you walk on the earth and you ask the earth to bless everyone. And I remember as a little kid, constantly, like I would say, even through my first, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years, I can remember constantly talking to the universe or God as I saw it then, or called it then. And I can remember always asking the universe to bless all people
Right.
and all things. And even in little situations where there might be like a neighborhood fight, or or maybe I saw my parents argue, and I can remember not favoring any party, but asking the universe to bless everyone equally and let things turn out in the most.
Yeah.
But and I find this interesting that you bring it up, because I think about this over the last few days. Now I'm talking to you, and I'm wondering, you know what? I think that's the power of an empath.
Yeah.
Like taking on the responsibility as a co-creator and a collaborator, and consciously creating. Because I mean, that prayer is actually becoming reality.
Yeah.
Just like our bad thoughts become reality,
Yeah.
which is another thing that's happening. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Thank you for letting me say that.
Because at the current time, my guide has always been in tune with me the last few years, and said, when you go out, if the supermarket won't serve you, I have a little buff, and I just pop that on because we don't want problems for the staff. But in the outside world, it's down. I've been speaking to children when I went to the supermarket today, because the little children are frightened.
Yeah.
They're looking wary at what's going on. And I think that smile, just saying you've got a nice coat, is giving a little bit of comfort. And just apply me like gently where you can. I don't sort of put any ideas to anyone. Like you say with empathy, as a child, I was quite happy on the beach. And when I used to go to the beach, even if it was cold, my mum had said, "Do you want a jumper?" I said, "No." And I'd be putting my hands and feet in the sand. Now, you don't realise till you actually sit now on the earth and you're in tune with the earth. You've been doing this a long time. And then I opened up to going right back, Lemuria, Atlantis and everything.
Yeah.
What actually happened a few years ago, things were coming in that quick, and I thought, I don't believe this. I'd been to New Age shops for years, Todd, and obtained the most beautiful crystals. What was actually happening? I collected them, sometimes didn't use them. This is one tiny bowl. Gosh, this is going to be fun. Right? So one tiny, where's the camera that way? Gosh, right, bowl. The house, when I actually cleanse the crystals, the washing up bowl like that is full twice, because I have so many. Now, they weren't expensive, and I have a beautiful heart. Each colour was actually teaching me with the artwork. I had no idea at the time what was happening. So I've had a lot of these years. I have a beautiful fluorite heart. They're quite expensive now. Let's get to this side. That's it.
That's nice.
Things like one I got recently, tiny, which is different colours. I wear them a lot, even pyramids. Now, I don't always bother with them or meditate, and that one is a lovely egg. But the colours within them, right, they're like, go with my key codes. I didn't know none of this when I got them. So what actually happened, I started to paint years ago. Now, I paint mundane things, so now and again, we'll have a sketching session. And
hang on, hang on a
There
second.
we go.
Let's look at that.
Right.
So what do? You draw,
So,
you pick, is that a,
sometimes, yeah, I sketch, and then I just
okay.
think, right, I brought a leaf in, and then I just copied it and colour it. Now, that is what I call my basic artwork. It changed from time to time. That's copied.
And is your artwork, is it infused like
Yeah,
with
it's dramatic.
certain intentions? Yeah.
This
that's
one
cool.
here, that's
Yeah.
copied, and that's just tiny. Now,
Yeah.
these things are just copied, nothing special. You'll see what I mean when I opened up a lot. What I actually started to do, when people pass over to spirit, like Prince, I liked doing portraits. So when Prince died, that's my normal work in mixed media. Now, the
Let me
mixed
see. Let
media,
me see.
there
Put
we
it.
go.
Okay, hang on. There you go.
Yeah, so the mixed media, which are quite big, and the portraits, that's the normal where I copy just from a photograph.
Uh-huh.
I have a print of Audrey Hepburn. Now, this sounds crazy. These are like, I draw black and white, and I write the colours in with a little letter as if you're going to do a craning book. Now, then I colour in from the mind's eye, and that's a print. Now, that's the normal work, which takes a long, 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 long time. We know
Now let me ask you this about your work. Okay.
Yeah.
Where is the connection between like the portrait of Prince and the portrait of Audrey Hepburn and even the leaf? How do you connect this to, is this a form of transmutation?
No, that's
For
my
yourself?
regular. Yeah, that's my regular. Now then, I take outlines, and after I did a cosmic meditation at a mind, body, spirit on dragon, red and yellow meditation, I came home and I
Dragons.
drew an outline. And
Okay, hang
after
on.
a meditation,
Your picture is real blurry right now.
oh, is it?
So yeah,
Is
and
it?
I'll tell you why. It's okay. No, put it down. Put it down. Put
Right.
it down for a second. Just for a second.
Yeah.
What happens is the camera is you're moving around too much. So let it settle down.
Yeah, right.
Let it settle down. It's coming back now. Okay, just sit tight. Now slowly pick up that dragon and let's take a look at it. Don't move it around too much.
No.
Don't move it.
I opened up. I sketched
Just
the outline.
bring it over here. Yeah, bring it over here bring it over here. A little closer. Wow, that's pretty cool. A little closer. That looks three-dimensional.
It is.
It looks three-dimensional. You know I love dragons. Hang on. Can you bring that one closer again? Bring it right up to the camera. Bring it up to the camera. Yeah, that's well, you froze up now. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Just hold it still so the camera can focus. God. All right, let's I think we got the idea here. So let's go back to let the camera settle and let's talk a little bit. Let the camera refocus.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, you said a couple of things. You're full of wisdom. So let's go back to a couple of things that you said. I really love what you said, and then we'll talk a little bit about the artwork, and then we'll look at some more artwork. But I want the camera to refocus over there. It's still blurry. So just give it a second. It'll do it. You mentioned about when you go to the grocery store or the market, whatever y'all call it, and these kids, you see these kids, right? And I was thinking about how you were talking about, going into nature and not having to go through a modality or a process, just allowing the silence and the peace to help you transform and transmute. I think of these kids as the same way. It's like everybody's running around in the grocery store, and over here, a lot of times they got masks on and they're in paranoia or they're in suspicion or they're in fear or whatever the case is. And you see these little kids, and they're just like, they're like, they were, with what you were saying, they remind me of, oh my God, they're like the forest. They're like the tree. So it's like we're sitting here. One of our worries is, and you hear people say this all the time, even in these light worker communities, they'll be like, "Oh, we've got to save the world," this thing is much bigger than the earth. It's much bigger than all of us. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I think we can learn a lot more from these kids than they can learn from us.
Yeah, yeah. Because, you know, as you talk to them, people are not talking to them because they're in fear. So they're behind the mask, rushing past. The kid's confused. And I think, you know, when you're at a distance, to just take down, you know, speak to them, communicate, especially outside, by just saying, oh, your little girl's cute, her hair's nice, whatever you want to say. The parents look so relieved that somebody's speaking to the child. So just using your wisdom, you know, to where you want to apply it. But when I opened up a lot years ago, I've been to the Mind, Body, Spirit meditations, and we'd done the cosmic meditation where the guy talked about red and yellow dragon energy. Now, I didn't know I could shapeshift, and in the meditation, I'd literally shapeshifted into a dragon. When I explained how I felt, he said, oh, that's a shapeshift. Will you go home and paint? So I drew the outline from a magazine, just in pencil. And that came from the meditation. I realised then there's much more to the paintbrush than meets the eye. And a lady said, can you draw as a medium my dead relatives? I said, yes, but I wouldn't be able to promise anything. And obviously I had that skill, but then I thought this could go farther. And I went walking out in nature. And what actually happened again, I stood next to the colours one day, came home, it started raining. And I thought, right, I'm going to leave my housework and I'm going to draw. Well, the most beautiful fairy came out. Gosh.
Bring it up to the camera slow. Yeah.
I just had a magazine.
Hang on, let's see. Hang on. No, you're good. No, you were good. Just bring it slow. Don't move it too fast.
That's it. That's
okay,
it.
Now move it right there. Hold it right there. Hold it right there. Don't move.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, her eyes.
Mind blowing. Hang on. Let us take a look at it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about this. Now you're drawing. Let's just talk about the fairy. This fairy is as accurate as anything I've ever seen in my third eye with fairies. How did this happen? Do you communicate with the elemental kingdom, with the fairies?
Yes, I do. I didn't again know I was doing it for years. Okay. When I was in nature, I cleaned up bags of litter because it was terrible. And then one day, I spotted on the floor beautiful leaves, so I brought them home. And I started to draw. Now then, I didn't realise I'd had these communications, so I made friends at a fairy event, and they make things out of clay and beautiful ornaments. And the lady more or less said, you can do this painting. But when I came back from the trees, I started to sketch. So I drew a face to the side, went away, put the music on, got a cup of coffee. And then as I painted, I spent hours and hours and hours just painting these shades of green. But when I looked at the eyes after, I thought, she's beautiful. She's carrying either, as well as fairy energy, Lemurian or Atlantean energy. Because the eyes are different. And I couldn't actually explain what happened here. It was all from my inner vision. Nothing copied at all. So
is she... Do you receive, I mean, I realize, and I think we're all starting to realize that a lot of our communication isn't like traditional or typical,
No.
you know, like where you have words back and forth, but you can have, like I know Gayatri, my friend Gayatri from India, she's been painting dragons and even did an oracle deck. So but she gets messages with them, specific messages. But there's also I think a lot of people are starting to come out with, they're receiving, they're receiving a communication, but it's not necessarily in words. And this is where their art comes from, or their different inspirations. Yeah. How is it for you? Do you get clear messages that you can explain to people, or is the code just within the painting or the sculpture, whatever it might be?
It's as if the colour is giving strength, it's giving healing or light. It means a lot when I look at these crystals afterwards, which I didn't think at the time, chakra, you know, you see the diagrams with a bright chakra and colours out in the world. I went for a while, as I say, to Buddhism. Now, I would like to gift you for your new studio because I'm not at the moment financially to give money, but for a while I was painting the Buddha. Now, when I first painted the Buddha, this was copied on the outline again, but not copied on the, I'll do it very steady, not copied on the colour, and it's trimmed silver.
Right there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow, that's, hold it right there.
Now that is 10 by, and I'm a 10 by about 11, and it's just on hard paper, but the board is something else. I've got one on a board. Now, the board here, I was shown that day that I needed to paint bright, and before I did the Buddha, I literally saw like a mass of colour. This is crazy. This is actually how bright it was that day. This is a board. Where have we got you? That's it. I'm getting you.
What do you call that? This is what? Oh, a board. A board.
Yeah, a board. You know, ready for hanging. A board. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now this came out.
That's trippy.
Yeah,
that's trippy.
it is. It's like,
I'm just curious. Do you think that you've got a little bit of fairy in you? A little elemental?
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be a mad sprite.
Even your Buddha.
Sprite.
Even your Buddha is carrying that elemental.
But I would love to gift you, I don't know what colour your studio is going to be decorated.
This wall back here, let me just increase this so everybody can see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, there you are. So this wall back here, over here, the back wall is going to be black, like a shiny black.
Right.
I think she's going to do that in the next 2 or 3 days. She's an incredible painter and remodeler, renovator. But anyway, so that's going to be black, and then she's evidently got like, I don't know, I want to say like 15 people that want to, and this is a way for people to present their stuff, and we'll spend time saying this is who sent these. Like these two up here
are
from our friend Carlotta J, which are fascinating.
Because you can private your address. I mean, this one would need a nice mount or frame. That's subtle and beautiful in a way. It's trimmed in silver and gold, so the face sort of stands out. This is not as clear, but you can have that gifted because it's been in the house a long time, and I want them to go to people to get happiness. I'm not about, how can I say it, if I paint something, say, no, it's crazy. My son is fantastic.
This is so weird talk. It's not weird. There's no coincidences. Everything is synchronized, right? But it's strange to me because I was just thinking about this too yesterday after this long trip that we were on. And I was thinking, you can't take it with you. Like it's so weird to me that people hold on to stuff, including money. It's like we're moving into what some call New Earth, 5D, whatever you want to call it. If we're all going through individual transformations and elevations, then the collective experience would have to be paralleling us or vice versa. But what I'm trying to say is I don't think the universe is going to let us do that. I think we're supposed to share what we pull down, and like in your case, these incredible paintings and drawings that we're supposed to share. This is like currency. It's like you're sharing abundance is what you're doing. And in that abundance, like in those pictures that you have, like those carry all kinds of code. You don't have to sit in front of a master to learn what a greater peace is or wisdom or courage or love. You can actually receive the code in a creation like this Buddha or this incredible hot looking fairy. That one's
Yeah,
probably got something to do with
I've got
sacred
wonderful two
sexuality.
sons. Yeah, wonderful grown-up children. One's an illustrator, and he got me a Christmas present 2 years ago. And I said, "What's in the box?" And he'd taken my artwork without me knowing and photographed it in the house and got me gift cards. And I said, "Again, the Buddha here. I don't have the painting. I gave it to somebody very sick because she'd had a lot of problems neurologically. And I gave her the painting. These cards make fantastic prints. I mean, anybody can inbox me. They're very, what they can afford actually, for UK pounds. And they aren't actually, to me, a gift card. They're more like a good quality print. I mean, again, they're copied, the rose and that. But these are what I actually really enjoyed doing. The painting has gone. I copied the outline of green Tara.
Is that Callie? Who is that?
Tara. And her eyes. I painted Tara, green Tara from Buddhism. A bit like the white Tara the lady had on at Sedona. Yeah. Now, her eyes are crying compassion. It just happened as I painted it because she's for total compassion. But these, to me, are a better print than a card.
Have you, I mean, like when you did that one, do you get a message from her? I mean, does she tell you something? Do you absorb her essence, or how does that work?
Yeah. As I'm painting, because I've done the chanting of the mantra in the past, I just ask that. She comes through the brush and the outline is drawn. And obviously I know she's green with black hair, but I don't have any colour. What I do, I just sit. And as I start to paint, she builds up. So the face, I'm mixed in a bit of a muse. And it builds it up in like layers. So that comes through with a message of love, compassion, and green is the heart chakra, healing energy. And she always comes so bright. I did too. And one lady bought another, and this one.
I don't know, that look in her eyes, though. That look in her eyes could freeze any man in his tracks.
Yeah, definitely. So, that's how she came out, actually.
There's a beloved sister, Guided Light. She asked the same question that I was going to ask, so I'm going to bring it to you now. So she says that you feel like kind of a mother of fairy energy. And, that's what I was thinking too. That's why I made that joke a minute ago. But I was going to ask you what she asked you. What is your relationship with trees? Do you hear the trees? Do they speak to you? Do you get a feeling or any kind of clair from trees?
Yeah. Like as you hear the wind rustle and the leaves, the birds, whatever, it's like a clearing of energy. I follow as well a type of shamanic path. So when I'm around trees, they contain wisdom and earth energy. So just putting your hands on them, looking at the shapes in them, sometimes just putting my hands on, not literally hugging, although I have done, drawing the energy. Because I play a native flute and drums, and I like doing a journey with people if they want one. I haven't done that for a long time, where they just meditate, relax. And as I play a CD, I play the music with the CD by ear. I'm not an instrumentalist. But the music is a healing vibe, and I hear that in nature. Like when I saw your show with the lady with the fabulous electric guitars.
Oh, I know, right?
Some music, composing from the birds.
Did you see that? Did you see that that music, that little concert that we did right before we left? I
saw the lady with the fabulous meditation music with the Buddha in the background, the paint.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, so we had there was a little gathering like a couple of days before, and there was a few different. There was a gong and there was a guitar.
Oh, yeah.
2 guitars.
I have.
But then we did the show with her, and then there was one where we had a stage looking over the canyon, And I didn't know what I was getting into. They just handed me a microphone. And
Right.
it's not about me. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, I just started doing spoken word and they just started playing, right? Like one guy was playing a guitar and a flute. Another guy had an organ and a flute.
Yeah.
And this other girl sat down and started, basically her voice became an instrument. And then of course there were the gongs and this is where I was at with it. That's why I brought it up, because it felt like I could have been in dimension or I could have been in the middle of the forest, because there was a certain rhythm that was like totally spontaneous and natural. And I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
It is. I hit a lady called Barbara Michael John Free at a Mind Body Spirit many moons ago, and she does healing with a shamanic drum in a workshop. And I said, "Ooh, that drum." She said, "The drum finds you. You don't find the drum when you need it." And I
It's amazing.
"I want that drum on her stall." She said, "Oh, it's my drum." And I said, "Oh, right." And it had a beautiful raven painted on. And the guy painted them somewhere down Glastonbury, and they were beautiful. I actually got a couple of drums. I do have djembes just for fun. But I have a type of drum which I will eventually paint myself. It's a big drum, can be played with a bodrum or a lead beater. And I use them just for energy or just for healing. The flute, again, I'm drawn to. And I bought a couple of native flutes, one off the internet, one at a Mind Body Spirit, but I just literally, when I feel like it, put a CD on. We have these fabulous people turn up in town now and again, not seen them for a bit. They're South American, and they play panpipes, native flutes, drums and rattles, and then they sell CDs. Well, I have to listen a bit till I get the tune and then pick up the flute, and you just literally, once you've played it, it's weird, but the music goes off, you can't play. Yet you can play tones, and like you say, it brings you into rhythm. Yeah.
It's crazy because, you think of like music, instruments or even somebody's voice, even like rhythmic stuff like rap or poetry or prose. And you think of it in a certain way, but it's taken on a new meaning like everything else is. So like, that lady with the guitar that you were talking about, we had gotten together with like, I don't know, there was like 25, 30 people at their house. And before the whole thing started, my friend Jade, who's incredible when it comes to these gongs, he hit this one gong and, like he did his, like rubbed it around the edge of it. And that was the first sound, and it was just like a like that.
It is your energy, yeah.
And I looked across the room because I was filming from my camera. I was live, and Morgan was right across the room from me, diagonal, sitting on the floor, and I just saw her. The tears just started coming out of her face, and it went on for like 30 minutes. But you know what it was? When she heard that gong, and she was just there, she's just being present. There's a lot of people there, and as well as I do, for a lot of empaths, that's very challenging anyway, having a bunch of people around, right? Mm-hmm. And so anyway, when he did that gong and he went around the perimeter of it, she got activated, and every person that she looked at, all she could see was pure love, and every object, every instrument, every table, every chair. And that's why she was crying. And it all came from that one sound. So I think what's happening is sound, vibration, resonance, wavelengths, the auric field, like the color, the spectrum of light beyond visible light spectrum. All of these things are taking on kind of this, they're all like stepping up. Like the trees are stepping up, the elementals are stepping up, sounds are stepping up. Every aspect of the universe is stepping up and sharing their beauty, And I know it sounds crazy, but we didn't come here for nothing. No. And I think this is indicative.
Yeah, I actually went to a spell where I had been very low, even though I'm quite balanced then, because I have food intolerances. Anyway, I went to the Mind Body Spirit and saw this guy with a flute. And I said, "Oh, I'd love one." But when I looked at the price, I shuddered, because at the time, I only had a tiny bit of part-time money. And I thought, But then Christmas, birthdays, my auntie gave me a bit of money, my husband, then I started to work a bit more. Anyway, I saved up. And the bulk of the money, where you should be saving it for a rainy day, went on these instruments.
There is no rainy day, right?
It made me happy. I think, well, like you say, you need to enjoy things. I'm not impractical. And, obviously, we've got to have common sense. But when you look at things realistically, if you enjoy them, and they're cheap, and sometimes you find things. I actually got a drum for £30, a djembe drum. Gosh, it was in a second-hand shop, and they're like £100. So not everything is about pennies, but if you enjoy things,
no, it's not, man. And that's
yeah.
And that's another thing that's happening too. Is, for anyone who followed the story the last few days, imagine like we get to Sedona and our car blows up. And we don't have any money, right? But we didn't freak out. We just stayed in our balance and frequency. I think I had a couple of hours the next day where I was a little bit off. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, so what you were talking about, so then we get 5 hours out of Sedona. We got just enough to get home. And this lady, this beautiful sister says, hey, I want to give you this bus. Now, we got to drive back 5 hours. And then 5 hours back to where we were, and then another 10 or 12 or 14 hours home, right? And so we didn't even go into how are we going to do this? How are we going to be able to do this? Morgan never has driven on the right side of the road, or as she calls it, the wrong side of the road. She had to drive over 20 hours, right, on the right-hand side of the road at 80 miles an hour, with all these big trucks. And she did fantastic. But I guess what I'm saying is that everything worked out. We literally rolled into town with like $136. So it's like when the universe offers you something, we're in this place now where we cannot allow our fears and our rationale to interfere with the universal flow.
Definitely not.
And that's what I was getting from you, like with the whole thing about, if I want this drum and I look at the price, I'm like, how am I going to do that? The universe will cooperate if you have faith in it, which is really faith in itself.
Yeah, and if you need it. Yeah, because I don't drive and I don't have a car. And I'm definitely not material. I'm on just a tablet here that actually came in my mobile phone plan, at a low cost. So I'm happy as long as things work. But how can I say it? It's like you say, when you expand with the sounds of nature, when you get joy and you start to trust the flow, spontaneous things happen. And it's like, some people think we're crazy. They think, how can you do that? Because they're in the matrix. And it's, oh my God, I've got to do the 30 hours a week or whatever. But if you're getting run down, like I was only working part-time and I was getting very run down years ago, it was a cleaning job. And I was doing far too much. And then I got so ill, I had to literally stop and climb off. And I started to gently renovate my house a little bit, gently do some positive things, look after my father when he was on the earth plane, he's now spirit side. And that became very positive. And I did things like gardening with my dad when he was fit and healthy, and my own garden. And I actually started to enjoy just getting up with my spirit free. And that's not being an aging hippie and not doing anything, because I've always helped people at the drop of an hat, because I do the cards healing, gone out and done the voluntary. But then I decided to become self-sufficient. And like you say, energetically, what a wonderful person to give you a boost. Some people, they can't part with it, what you call a few cents. But then that's not what energy's about.
No.
Because, wherever I can help, I do assist. Not a lot, but I try and give. Yeah.
No, we're, and again, I think we're all kind of creating the new template, the new blueprints. And that's one of the things that that we've realized, so it's gifting, it's on the honor system, and it's paying it forward. So I would bet you that in the time we were in Sedona, Morgan and I, through her zeropointing.com and soulogy contributions, we probably forwarded and I had it in my, I want to say like maybe $700 or $800 to people,
Right.
as we were led to. And it never fails. It never fails. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you send it out and almost immediately it comes right back, and it comes back bigger, right?
Yeah.
And I know that's hard for us to get used to. See, this is where I'm at with what's happening now. Is it's like, okay, we get these little taste of magic, and then once the episode's over, we want to go tell everybody, oh my God, this is what happened to me. But that's not where the universe is taking us. Where it's taking us is, hey, this is normal. This is like moment by moment. Every moment's supposed to be like this.
Co-creating.
And the only thing stopping it is us. Not in a bad way, but like we're not used to it. I think that's a big part of
fear blocks in, and fear tries to get in my life.
Yeah.
You know, like you see all this, you see people become unemployed, people worried, and you think, oh my gosh, what can happen? But then you think, no, stop. You're doing the same thing there. You're flicking yourself
That's right.
back. Yeah,
Right.
you mustn't. A fabulous artist in Australia did these a while ago, and I looked at those. Now, I found that when you look at some of them, they're so beautiful. Now, again, that's tree-based.
Slow, yeah, do it slow. So because your
And
camera's
that's quite amazing that somebody can like visualize like that from trees.
There's people putting out amazing stuff.
Amazing stuff. And I
Like
think,
just
now I'm at a stage of creativity. Yeah, this is a tree. Again, I like nature and harmony.
It looks like a goddess.
Yeah, it
It is
does.
a goddess.
Or a dryad. He's in Australia somewhere, he's the guy, and he paints on big boards. But it's like when I do look at things with perspective and grounded, the main obstacles I've been trying to overcome, when I say work on myself, meditate, and I do meditate each day if I can, even if it's 10 minutes, is to spot check, but without telling ourselves off. A lot of people, they've commented or talked to me, they've said, oh, you know, what's going to happen with all this? Have you any idea? Because you're clairvoyant. I said, no, nobody, no matter how clairvoyant, could say what the outcome of the virus is. We can't. But it's like they've said to me, how do you keep calm? I said, it's hard, but trust. I said, always trust with synchronicity. That if you feel right, you enjoy the work you do, helping people, you know, even the wonderful nurses, carers and everything. It's so hard at the moment, you know. So I meditate, send out healing light. But it's like people, if you go back into fear, then some people are getting cross at the self. I'll say, oh no, go easy on the self. Do not come out of alignment by getting annoyed at yourself. Why haven't I done that right? Or, you know, oh, should I fear this? Why am I fearing that? I said, the minute you spot the fear, acknowledge and let go. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think an easy way, another way to explain that is if it doesn't make sense, do it. You know, like if you're getting this message to go do something that doesn't make sense, then do it. And that kind of works as a catalyst for the magic. And I really think we're at a place now where, because there's so much distortion and distraction, you know, that we have no other choice. It's like the universe is saying, okay, I'm going to make this world become more and more and more of a cartoon until you finally realize that what you thought reality is fantasy, and what you thought was fantasy is actually reality. You know, we're going to have to head out. We'll have to get together again sometime. And I just want to acknowledge, let me see, hang on. I think it's Angela Rose. Angela Rose, where are you at? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. She goes by Guided Light. She's on the YouTube crowd. I had to mention this. She says, we need you to hum again for us. My guides just said your hum is a healing frequency. See if that resonates. I actually have never done that before, but when I was imitating that, I got the same kind of message. And because I'm a little self-conscious, I can't do it now, but I promise you I'll play with that a little bit, and I'll see what I can do with it. I want to ask you, how do people get in touch with you? We're on
I'm Carol Tallon, Angel Clairvoyant on Facebook. I'm not on YouTube. I have a website, www.angelclairvoyant.net.
Oh my
Now,
God,
that is on my page, on my profile.
oh, it is. Okay, so you're on your page. It's Carol Tallon, right?
Yeah.
Or do you have another? Okay, so it's on your page. I was going to write that, but I had no idea how to spell a clairvoyant, so it'd be too hard. I was going to type it in. So it's say the name of the website again.
It's Angel Angel Clairvoyant. Do you want me to spell it?
Here, I can write it in here for you. Hang on.
It's Angel.
CLAIR.
Yeah.
VOY.
Yeah.
Yeah. ENT, right?
Yeah. ANT. Yeah.
ANT or ENT?
A for apple. Yeah. NT.
CLAIRVOYANT.
Yeah.
Okay,
.net.
.net. Okay, here we go, people.
That's,
all right, so there's
to my page, and that just says what I do. You know, I do readings by donation to what times they'd like. You know, e.g., if they don't have very much money, they can have a shorter price, and I can do that via web, but it's Facebook.
Anybody gets. I'm sure you're going to get some requests and stuff. People always do when they come on the shows. That's what they tell me.
Right.
So yeah, you can work out that with people. Now, but you were going to mention something about the art, the prints and stuff. Those are available on that website.
It's on a page. It's Facebook. It's not a website. It's Facebook Angels Professional Artwork.
Is that all? Is that information available on your Facebook personal page? Does it have that?
It is. Yes. It is. Yes.
So the short of it is. Okay. So the short of it is all of your your Facebook art page, your website, those links are available on your Carol Tallon Facebook page.
That's right. Yeah, okay. That's right. And that way, if they did want to look at or purchase any artwork, it's available. They can pay again through the website, through PayPal, and then just a little bit of postage. That's entirely up to what they'd like. And if in my area, meet up to collect it or whatever they'd like to do. Because I go to a little shop, a friend's vintage shop in Haworth. Lovely Diane, she lets me have a little book room where I read. And if anybody wanted anything, I can take it there for them. Because some people local, when I share this out, will probably see it. I've been telling people, you know, I'm joining this fabulous platform from USA. I found you about just over a year ago, your platform, been watching. And then I think I shared a live in there. I'm not sure, because when I first went live, I was just nervous till I got used to it. Yeah, once I got used to it, it was good fun.
We made it all right, though. We made it all right. You did great. We'll have to do it again.
You're really tired tonight, won't you? It'll take you a few days just to rebalance, definitely.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I don't. That's why I don't want to start humming like a gong, because who knows what'll happen. I'm still trying to put my feet on the ground, and I know Morgan's.
Well, it's cold here. I could do with somewhere like Sedona, definitely. It's so dark. It's rained all day.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. It's been a pleasure getting to know you.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, great energy.
Maybe after, maybe after the first of the year, first few months of the year, we can do this again sometime.
And if you private message me once you've got yourself grounded, you can have that in your studio. You're much welcome.
Send Leilani, whoever you were talking to, just if you need an address or anything like that, let me know. That's beautiful. I think that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I'm also a little partial to that sexy green fairy, though. Okay, so we're gonna head out. We're gonna be back in 56 minutes with Light Star, someone I've heard is very, very prominent in our community, and I don't know who she is, but we'll figure it out. You take care.
Take
Peace
care.
out, everybody. All right,
everybody. Bye.